Good afternoon, everyone. We have Bud Black here. We'll let Patrick start us off with the questions for this one. Go ahead, Patrick.
Let me ask you about CJ Cron.
Okay.
What is his status?
Probably unavailable tonight. Growing strain. We're crossing our fingers, like I mentioned last night, that it's a brief time away from action. We're going to go through a lot of treatment today with Keith and the guys. We're hoping that it resolves itself to the point where he can be available to play, pinch hit, whatever that might be. But Keith wants to wait a day or two, so that's a good thing. A lot of times Keith has great feel for this on what's an IL and what's not, what's definitely an IL and what definitely isn't. We're in that stage where we're optimistically thinking that we might be able to avoid the IL.
Okay. The trade that sent Mychael Givens to the Reds today, from your perspective, what are the Reds getting in Mychael? I mean, the numbers have been terrific, but from your perspective, what are they getting from the veteran?
Well, I think that's the most important thing is the performance. I think, anytime you're talking about a player, the first thing you look at is performance. And Michael's pitched well for us this year. Had the little hiccup with the low back side situation that kept him from the mound for just short of a couple weeks. But overall, he's been pretty consistent. So I think the Reds are getting a veteran reliever who knows his game, who knows how to navigate through an inning. However that might be, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or whether there's some base runners. He knows his strengths. He knows his weaknesses. He knows what he can do with left or right-handed hitters, what his mix of pitches need to be. So they're getting, I think, a reliable, consistent bullpen arm that is pitched in the back end of a bullpen in two situations, the Orioles and the Rockies. He's going to be a part of their, stretch run here of 2 months to try to make the playoffs.
I know you look at things as in a positive manner whenever you can. That simply opens the door for more chances for some of your young guys down the last 2 months of the season, correct?
Yeah, for sure. And remember I said the other night that whether the game is in a crisis, and as it relates to Lawrence, straight up, right? If you remember back, he came in, he got a bases loaded situation in front of him with Jesse Winker, and he got a ground ball to second base for the third out of the inning. He got a ground ball double play off the bat of Yadier Molina in a big spot against the Cardinals. And last night, he was asked to, get through an inning to keep other guys from getting in that game with a 10-run lead, and threw up a couple walks and a couple hits. So, these are all learning experience for our pitchers. But to your initial question about other guys getting opportunities, you're right. I mean, it's one less veteran proven reliever in our bullpen. Daniel Bard, Carlos Estevez, Givens was sort of the threesome that we felt most comfortable with when we have a game, when we have the type of game where we need to get through the 7th, 8th, or 9th innings. And those 3 guys, I think, were the guys that we're going to lean on. Now, with one of them gone, somebody else has to be that guy. Tyler Kinley, Ben Bowden, Lucas Gilbert, Jolice Shasheen, Yency Almonte when he comes back, or whoever. We need guys to pick up those innings because Mychael was a pretty consistent performer for us.
Thank you, buddy.
Thomas?
Hey, in the trade, obviously, we know a little bit about the kid from here, from Denver, but Davis, who is kind of nearing that point to where he's on the big league radar. What have you seen?
Was that the other kid, Davis?
Yes. What have you seen as far as the reports on him, or what?
The reports are good. The video looked good. I saw a little bit of the video on him, but the walks are a little high this year. But I like the delivery. I like the velocity to the fastball. I really like the ability to spin the ball. It looks as though the breaking pitches are legit and big league quality. I think he has major league talent. Now we got to see it develop and become a little bit more consistent and have him work his way up the minor league system to prove that he gets an opportunity to pitch in the big leagues. But there's a lot to like about the stuff and the guy.
Looking at your current bullpen group, does Kinley kind of fall first in line for that seventh / eighth inning type thing right before Estevez, or is that just a completely open competition? Just
I
depending
think
on
it's open. I think Chacon, did a nice job in San Diego that last weekend series going those 2 innings. I think he's in there once he gets back here and on his feet. I think Chacin's a guy. Yency Almonte, we haven't seen the best of Yency this year by any stretch of the imagination. But there's 2 months left for Yency to turn it around and throw the ball well. He sort of fulfilled that role last year for us. So I would say, Almonte, Chacon, Kinley, Bowden, Gilbert. Those guys, hopefully one of those or 2 of those fellas or 3 of those fellas or 4 of those fellas or 5 of those fellas step up and be contributors consistently. We've seen them contribute already, but how about contribute consistently? Let's throw up 8, 9, 10 appearances in a row, no runs. Let's make that challenge. Let's get that done.
Last one for me, and I kind of forgot about him, but the way that Chacon performed in really a new role for him. I mean, are you intrigued by the possibility that he is 7th and 8th inning guy, and maybe you could even use that going forward?
Yeah, well, he's built the right way. Excuse me, veteran guy. I think stuff plays up a little bit more in short spurts, as we've seen. But he's a guy. We feel good about him because, again, the head's in the right spot, the aptitude. He knows his game. He knows what he wants to do. He studies. He's very trustworthy in a lot of ways.
Thanks, buddy.
Tracy?
Buddy, with the addition that you made in the trade today with Davis, the fact that the Tommy John surgery is last year at Santa Barbara, he'd only pitched like 30 innings or something prior to this year. I mean, do you have to factor that in when you look, say, the walk total, over a 3-year period between the pandemic and between the injury? You have to factor that in somewhat, that the command might not be quite what it will eventually be.
Yeah, I think so, Trace. It's a good point. There might be a little rust on there with this fella, but from what I saw on video, from what our reports say, that I think this guy does have the ability to get the ball in the strike zone and eventually command it. So I'm going to pull up some more video after we're done here and bear down a little bit more on him. But the reports were good on him out of the draft from our own amateur scouts. I think Smitty saw him live in college a couple times. So there's some knowledge from our amateur scouts who've seen him. And, I really like the hit to inning pitch ratio. It's low hit and it's high strikeout also. So that tells me that there's stuff. I saw some video where, he touched 95. And I really like the shape to the breaking balls. And, just from video, it looks like he can spin the ball. That's great.
I kind of thought like last year, having no season at all really plays into getting everything back in order.
No doubt about it.